In the labyrinthine realm of espionage and covert operations, psychological warfare known as PsyOps stands as a weapon of immense power and intrigue. Throughout history, governments and organizations have wielded this clandestine art, subtly shaping the perceptions, emotions, and behavior of their targets. Prepare to embark on a thrilling documentary adventure that delves into the captivating world of historical PsyOps. We will unveil the secret missions, audacious strategies, and lasting impacts of these operations that have left an indelible mark on global affairs. From the depths of World War II to the corridors of power in the Cold War, we will explore iconic campaigns that have swayed public opinion, destabilized regimes, and even changed the course of history. Meet the masterminds behind these psychological maneuvers, master manipulators who understood the human mind with uncanny precision. Witness how they crafted sophisticated narratives, sowed seeds of doubt, and unleashed disinformation to achieve their objectives. Join us on this enthralling documentary journey as we delve into the hidden history of PsyOps, unlocking the secrets of a world that has both fascinated and frightened generations. Brace yourself for a rollercoaster ride through the annals of psychological warfare, where the lines between truth, deception, and manipulation are blurred. Prepare to be astonished, perplexed, and forever altered by the revelations of this compelling documentary. Embark on the journey now and witness the transformative power of psychological warfare operations that continue to shape our world today. Psychological operations, or PsyOps, refer to techniques and strategies employed to influence the behavior, attitudes, and emotions of a target audience or adversary. The aim is to achieve specific objectives in support of military or political operations, such as demoralizing enemy forces, undermining their support, and advancing strategic goals. The target audience for PsyOps operations can vary widely, from enemy combatants to civilians, foreign governments, and international organizations. PsyOps leverage a range of methods, including propaganda, information dissemination, deception, and psychological warfare tactics to shape perceptions and influence behavior. Strategies rely on principles of behavioral science, understanding human psychology and vulnerabilities to create desired effects. It is claimed by governments that ethical considerations are paramount in PsyOps operations, although this is highly dubious. Techniques must be used responsibly and within legal and international standards, or so they say. Modern PsyOps leverage a wide range of media and communication channels, including print, broadcast, social media, and electronic communications to disseminate messages. Measuring the effectiveness of operations is crucial. Objective assessment methods are employed to evaluate the impact of campaigns and adjust strategies accordingly. It is claimed that PsyOps operations must adhere to domestic and international laws, such as the Geneva Conventions and other regulations governing warfare and human rights. PsyOps often involve collaboration with other disciplines, such as intelligence gathering, strategic planning, and behavioral psychology to achieve optimal results. They are an instrumental element in warfare and covert operations, influencing the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of target audiences. History is replete with notable PsyOps operations that have shaped global events. Let us now uncover some of the prominent historical PsyOps operations, beginning with Operation Mincemeat. Throughout history, humans have waged wars to achieve their political, economic, and territorial ambitions. In addition to employing physical force, armies have often resorted to psychological tactics to gain an advantage over their enemies. These tactics, known as psychological operations, PsyOps, have been used to manipulate perceptions, influence behavior, and sow discord within enemy populations. The ancient world was no stranger to PsyOps. From the earliest recorded conflicts to the vast empires that dominated the Mediterranean and Asia, military leaders understood the power of psychological warfare. While the methods and techniques used then may seem primitive by modern standards, they were nonetheless effective in achieving their intended goals. The origins of PsyOps can be traced back to the dawn of human warfare. Even in prehistoric times, warriors employed simple psychological tactics to intimidate their opponents. Tribal leaders would often engage in ritualistic dances and chants to create a sense of fear and awe. They also used propaganda and misinformation to sow discord among enemy tribes. As civilization developed, so did the sophistication of PsyOps. The ancient Egyptians, for example, were masters of psychological warfare. They used hieroglyphics and images to convey messages of power and intimidation. They also employed priests and scribes to spread rumors and propaganda among enemy populations. The Greeks and Romans were skilled in using propaganda to shape public opinion and justify their military campaigns. They created epic poems, plays, and speeches that glorified their warriors and vilified their enemies. They also used art and architecture to create a sense of grandeur and invincibility. Greek and Roman soldiers were trained in the art of psychological warfare. They used taunts, insults, and gestures to provoke their enemies and disrupt their formations. They also employed deceptive tactics, such as ambushes and feigned retreats, to confuse and demoralize their opponents. They also invoked the power of their gods to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. They built temples and erected statues of their deities on the battlefield. They also used priests and oracles to spread prophecies of doom and destruction for those who opposed them. History provides numerous examples of the successful use of PsyOps in ancient warfare. In 490 BC, the Persian army landed at Marathon, Greece, with the intention of conquering Athens. The Athenians were outnumbered and outmatched, but they employed a brilliant PsyOps strategy. They spread rumors that the Persians were cannibals and that they would enslave the Greek population. This propaganda campaign filled the Persians with fear and distrust, and it contributed to their eventual defeat. In 146 BC, the Romans besieged the North African city of Carthage. The Carthaginians were well defended, but the Romans used a combination of propaganda and psychological warfare to break their resistance. They spread rumors that the Carthaginians were sacrificing children to their gods, and they used inflammatory rhetoric to stoke anti-Carthaginian sentiment among the Roman troops. Eventually, the Carthaginians surrendered, and the city was destroyed. The Parthians were a skilled cavalry force that flourished in Central Asia during the 1st centuries AD. They were known for their use of horse archers, who employed a devastating tactic known as the Parthian shot. The horse archers would approach their enemies, fire their arrows, and then retreat before their opponents could counterattack. This tactic was both physically and psychologically devastating, as it demoralized enemy forces and made them reluctant to engage in battle. The psychological tactics used in ancient warfare laid the foundation for the modern practice of PsyOps. While the methods and techniques have evolved over time, the core principles remain the same: to manipulate perceptions, influence behavior, and achieve political and military objectives without resorting to direct violence. Today, PsyOps is an integral part of modern warfare. It is used to support a wide range of military operations, from peacekeeping missions to counterinsurgency campaigns. PsyOps units employ a variety of techniques, including propaganda, deception, and public relations, to undermine the morale of enemy forces, shape public opinion, and support military operations. The use of PsyOps in ancient warfare demonstrates the enduring power of psychological manipulation in shaping the course of human conflict. From the simple tactics employed by prehistoric warriors to the sophisticated strategies used by ancient empires, PsyOps has played a pivotal role in determining the outcome of battles and shaping the destiny of nations. As the world continues to grapple with the challenges of war and conflict, the lessons learned from ancient PsyOps remain relevant and instructive. During the darkest days of World War II, when Allied forces grappled with the seemingly insurmountable challenge of overthrowing the mighty German war machine, a daring and audacious plan was hatched called Operation Mincemeat. A meticulously orchestrated deception operation, it would deceive the Axis powers, open the gateway to the liberation of Europe, and forever etch its name in the annals of military history. The year was 1943. The Allies had suffered heavy losses in North Africa and were desperate to regain momentum. Supreme Allied Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower realized that an invasion of Europe was inevitable, but needed a way to distract Axis forces and secure a foothold on the continent. Thus, the concept of a deception plan was born. Lieutenant Commander Ian Fleming, best known as the creator of the iconic James Bond character, was tasked with developing the plan. Together with his team of intelligence experts, Fleming devised an intricate scheme that would deceive the Axis powers into thinking that the Allies intended to invade Greece or Sardinia rather than Sicily, their actual target. At the heart of the plan lay the creation of a fictitious British officer, Major William Martin. A detailed backstory was fabricated for Martin, including his family history, service record, and personal effects. His identity papers, letters, and photos were meticulously crafted to create a convincing illusion. The next step was to find a suitable body to play the role of the deceased Major Martin. The body of a homeless man named Glyndwr Michael was discovered in London and obtained by the intelligence team. The plan was given the code name Mincemeat. The term referred to the minced meat that would be used to conceal the body and disguise the true nature of the deception. On April 19, 1943, Michael's body, dressed in Major Martin's uniform and carrying his forged documents, was loaded on board the submarine HMS Seraph. The crew set sail for the coast of Spain, where they planned to release the body into the sea. As the submarine approached the Spanish coast, the crew released the body. It was washed ashore near Punta Umbria, where it was discovered by local fishermen. They alerted the authorities, who in turn contacted the German embassy in Madrid. The German intelligence service, known as the Abwehr, saw this as a golden opportunity to penetrate Allied secrets. They meticulously examined Martin's documents and concluded that the invasion target was indeed Greece or Sardinia. Operation Mincemeat had achieved its objectives. The Axis powers had fallen for the deception, and their defensive preparations shifted towards those areas. On July 10, 1943, Allied forces successfully invaded Sicily without encountering significant resistance from German troops. The liberation of Europe had begun. Operation Mincemeat played a crucial role in the success of the Allied invasion, diverting Axis attention and allowing them to gain a strategic foothold on the continent. The truth behind Operation Mincemeat remained a secret for many years. Glyndwr Michael's true identity was only revealed in 1996. The operation became a legend, demonstrating the vital role that deception and intelligence can play in war. Operation Mincemeat was a daring and audacious deception operation that played a pivotal role in the Allied victory in World War II. It demonstrated the power of deception, the importance of intelligence, and the unwavering determination of those who fought for freedom. The legacy of Operation Mincemeat continues to inspire and intrigue generations to this day. Operation Fortitude, one of the most ambitious and audacious military deceptions in history, also played a pivotal role in the Allied victory in World War II. This meticulously planned and executed operation misled the German High Command about the true location and timing of the Normandy landings, thereby diverting their attention and weakening their defenses. The success of Operation Fortitude was instrumental in the D-Day landings and the eventual liberation of Western Europe. Following the disastrous Dieppe raid in August 1942, the Allies recognized the need for a more comprehensive and sophisticated deception plan to prepare for a successful invasion of German-occupied France. The British Special Operations Executive and the American Office of Strategic Services collaborated to devise Operation Fortitude, a complex ruse that would deceive the Germans regarding the intended targets and timing of the upcoming invasion. At the heart of Operation Fortitude was the creation of two mythical armies, the 1st United States Army Group and the 4th United States Army. These phantom armies, composed of inflatable tanks, dummy vehicles, and meticulously orchestrated radio traffic, were designed to convince the Germans that the main Allied assault would come through the Pas-de-Calais region of France. The Allies enlisted the help of double agents, such as the Spanish spy Juan Pujol Garcia, codenamed Garbo, to feed false information to the German intelligence services. Allied interrogators also gained valuable intelligence from captured German prisoners, who unwittingly provided insights into Hitler's preconceptions and biases. Operation Fortitude was executed with meticulous precision. Dummy vehicles were strategically placed in staging areas to create the illusion of a massive buildup. False radio transmissions simulated the movements and communications of real army units. Allied spies leaked intelligence suggesting the concentration of Allied forces in southeast England. As D-Day approached, the Allied deception reached its peak. The fake armies in southeastern England were anxiously awaiting orders to invade, while the real invasion force quietly assembled in southwestern England. The German High Command, thoroughly convinced by the deception, deployed significant resources to the Pas-de-Calais region, leaving the Normandy coast relatively undefended. The Allied landings at Normandy on June 6, 1944, caught the German High Command by surprise. The phantom armies and false intelligence had kept them fixated on the Pas-de-Calais, enabling the Allies to secure a foothold on the French coast. The success of Operation Fortitude not only contributed to the D-Day landings, but also laid the foundation for the eventual collapse of Nazi Germany. Operation Fortitude stands as a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the importance of deception in military operations. The success of this grand deception played a pivotal role in the Allied victory in World War II and continues to inspire military strategists to this day. It remains a masterpiece of military intelligence and an enduring reminder that the battle for victory can be won not only on the battlefield, but also in the realm of deception and illusion. In the annals of American history, Operation Mockingbird stands as a clandestine chapter that profoundly shaped the nation's media landscape. For decades, the Central Intelligence Agency orchestrated a covert program to influence public opinion through a web of secret relationships with journalists and media organizations. The roots of Operation Mockingbird can be traced back to the early days of the Cold War. As the United States emerged as the preeminent global superpower, it sought to counter the growing influence of Soviet propaganda. In 1947, the CIA's Office of Policy Coordination launched a project known as Operation Creel, designed to disseminate positive news about the United States abroad. Operation Creel employed a variety of methods to plant stories in foreign media, including direct payments to journalists, pseudonymous front organizations, and the use of unwitting intermediaries. By the mid-1950s, the OPC had cultivated relationships with hundreds of foreign correspondents and editors. In fact, operations such as this are ongoing to this day. In 1953, Operation Mockingbird was expanded to include domestic media manipulation. The OPC's successor, the CIA's Office of Public Affairs, created a media assets panel to identify and cultivate favorable relationships with American journalists, editors, and publishers. The OPA used a variety of tactics to influence media content, including pressuring editors to publish or suppress stories, providing journalists with exclusives, off-the-record briefings, and other favors, fabricating or planting misleading stories, and disseminating propaganda through front organizations and clandestine publications. Operation Mockingbird targeted a wide range of media outlets, including national newspapers, wire services, radio and television stations, and academic publications. Some of the most prominent organizations implicated in the program include the New York Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine, CBS News, and even Harvard University. Operation Mockingbird had a profound impact on the American media landscape. The revelation of the CIA's secret manipulation of the media undermined public confidence in the integrity of the press. Many journalists and media organizations willingly participated in the program, either out of patriotism or financial gain. The exposure of Operation Mockingbird damaged the CIA's credibility and reputation as an independent intelligence agency. The program established a precedent for the government to exert influence over the media, which continues to be a concern today. The existence of Operation Mockingbird remained largely secret until the late 1970s. In 1975, a Senate committee investigating CIA abuses uncovered documents detailing the program's scope and activities. The revelations led to widespread public outrage and media reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability. Despite the official disclosure of Operation Mockingbird, many questions about its full extent and consequences remain unanswered. Historians and journalists continue to debate the program's impact on American history and media culture. Some believe that Operation Mockingbird was a necessary and justified tool to counter Soviet propaganda during the Cold War. Others argue that it constituted a violation of the First Amendment's right to a free press and undermined the public's ability to make informed decisions. The lessons learned from Operation Mockingbird serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of covert propaganda and the importance of safeguarding media independence as a fundamental pillar of democracy. Operation PB Success was a covert operation again orchestrated by the Central Intelligence Agency to overthrow the democratically elected government of Jacobo Arbenz Guzman in Guatemala. The operation, launched in 1954, marked a watershed moment in CIA history, cementing its role as a covert power broker in global affairs. Guatemala had a long history of political instability and economic inequality. In 1944, a popular uprising led to the overthrow of the authoritarian regime. The new government, under the leadership of President Juan José Arevalo, embarked on a program of progressive reforms, including land redistribution, labor protections, and education expansion. In 1951, Arbenz's successor, Arbenz Guzman, accelerated the land reform process, which redistributed large tracts of land from wealthy landowners to landless peasants. This move angered the United Fruit Company, an American corporation that owned vast coffee and banana plantations in Guatemala. UFC lobbied the United States government to intervene in Guatemala to protect its business interests. In 1952, the Truman administration authorized the CIA to launch a covert operation codenamed PB Fortune. The operation initially focused on propaganda and sabotage, but ultimately evolved into a full-scale plan to overthrow Arbenz. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower gave final approval for Operation PB Success. The CIA assembled a team of operatives, including Howard Hunt and Philip A.G., to coordinate the coup. The CIA's plan involved several key elements. They launched a psychological warfare campaign against Arbenz, accusing him of communist ties and spreading rumors of his impending invasion of neighboring countries. They arranged for the suspension of World Bank loans to Guatemala and pressured other countries to boycott its coffee exports. They trained and equipped a small force of Guatemalan exiles, known as the Invasion Army, which was to invade the country and overthrow Arbenz. On June 18, 1954, the Invasion Army crossed the border into Guatemala. The CIA provided air support and logistical assistance. Arbenz, lacking a loyal military and facing international isolation, resigned on June 27th and fled the country. The overthrow of Arbenz led to the installation of a military junta led by Carlos Castillo Armas. The new regime reversed Arbenz's reforms, suppressed the labor movement, and established close ties with the United States. The success of PB Success solidified the CIA's role as a covert player in global affairs. It became a model for future CIA interventions in Cuba, Chile, and elsewhere. The overthrow of Arbenz created a vacuum of power in Guatemala that led to decades of political instability and civil war. It also opened the region to Soviet and Cuban influence. The coup in Guatemala escalated tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union, contributing to the Cold War divide. Operation PB Success has been a subject of intense controversy. Critics have denounced it as an illegal act of intervention in a sovereign country and a violation of international law. Supporters argue that it was a necessary action to prevent the spread of communism in the Western Hemisphere. Operation PB Success stands as a significant chapter in the history of the CIA and the Cold War. It was a pivotal event that shaped the political landscape of Central America and left a lasting legacy of conflict and instability. By examining the operation's background, implementation, and consequences, we can gain a deeper understanding of the role of covert action in international affairs and the challenges of promoting democracy and human rights in the face of geopolitical tensions. Operation COINTELPRO, or Counterintelligence Program, was a clandestine and highly controversial FBI operation that targeted political organizations and individuals in the United States from the mid-1950s to the early 1970s. The program's mission was to disrupt, discredit, and neutralize groups and individuals deemed threats to national security, including the civil rights movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, and the Black Panther Party. COINTELPRO employed a wide range of illegal and unethical tactics, including wiretapping, infiltration, smear campaigns, false imprisonments, and assassinations. It originated in the context of the Cold War and the FBI's growing concern over the spread of communist and socialist ideologies in the United States. The program was established in 1956 under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover, the longtime director of the FBI. The initial focus of COINTELPRO was on isolating and discrediting the Communist Party USA. However, as the program expanded, it targeted a growing number of groups and individuals, including civil rights organizations such as the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. It also targeted anti-Vietnam War groups such as Students for a Democratic Society, SDS, and the Vietnam War Moratorium Committee, and black nationalist movements such as the Black Panther Party and the Nation of Islam. In addition to this, it targeted Puerto Rican independence groups such as the Young Lords Party and left-wing political parties such as the Socialist Workers' Party and the Progressive Labor Party. COINTELPRO operatives employed a wide range of tactics to achieve their goals. These tactics included FBI agents infiltrating target organizations and collecting information on their activities and members. They used wiretaps, informants, and other methods to monitor their communications and movements. The FBI spread false and misleading information about target groups and individuals, including forging documents, planting rumors, and creating fake news stories. COINTELPRO agents harassed target groups and individuals by sending anonymous threats, spreading rumors, and engaging in other forms of psychological warfare. The FBI used its authority to arrest, imprison, and deport target individuals and members of their organizations. They often used false charges and trumped-up evidence to secure convictions. In some cases, COINTELPRO agents used physical violence against target individuals, including beatings, kidnappings, and even assassinations. COINTELPRO targeted a wide range of individuals and organizations, including Martin Luther King Jr., a leading figure in the civil rights movement, with intense surveillance, wiretapping, and smear campaigns designed to discredit him and his organization. The FBI infiltrated and encouraged rivalries within the Black Panther Party, leading to the assassination of Malcolm X, a prominent member and advocate for black nationalism. The existence of COINTELPRO was kept secret for decades, but it was eventually exposed in the early 1970s through a series of leaks and congressional investigations. The revelations of COINTELPRO's illegal and unethical activities sparked a public outcry and led to widespread condemnation of the FBI. In 1976, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence issued a comprehensive report on COINTELPRO, condemning its tactics and calling for its termination. The report also recommended that the FBI be subject to stricter oversight and monitoring. It had a lasting impact on American society. It undermined trust in the government and law enforcement, and it cast a shadow over the First Amendment rights of political dissent. The program also contributed to the erosion of the public's faith in institutions and raised concerns about the potential for abuse of power by government agencies. In recent years, new information about cointelpro has emerged through declassified documents and investigations. This information has shed light on the full extent of the program's activities and its impact on individuals and organizations. The legacy of cointelpro continues to be debated. Some argue that the program was necessary to protect national security during a time of social and political turmoil. Others argue that the program was an illegal and unethical abuse of power that violated the rights of American citizens. Regardless of the different perspectives, cointelpro represents a dark chapter in American history. It is a reminder of the dangers of unchecked government power and the importance of safeguarding civil liberties. Operation Northwoods was a covert plan proposed by the United States Department of Defense in 1962 to justify a military invasion of Cuba. The plan involved a series of false flag operations designed to pin the blame on communist Cuba and create a public outcry for war. In the aftermath of the Bay of Pigs invasion, President John F. Kennedy was eager to find a pretext to invade Cuba and overthrow Fidel Castro's communist regime. However, the United States government was constrained by the Organization of American States, which had condemned the Bay of Pigs invasion as a violation of international law. In response, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, led by Admiral George W. Anderson, Jr., developed a plan codenamed Operation Northwoods. The plan proposed a series of false flag operations that would make it appear as if Cuba was preparing to attack the United States. These operations included falsely accusing Cuba of sinking an American submarine, staging attacks on American bases, planting Soviet weapons caches in Cuba, kidnapping or killing defectors, sinking Cuban refugees in a simulated life raft rescue mission, blaming Cuba for a hypothermia-related death in a pre-staged prisoner release, and shooting down an American civilian aircraft and framing Cuba. The goal of these operations was to create a public outcry and give the United States a justification for invading Cuba under the pretext of self-defense. The operations were designed to be believable and to provoke a public reaction that would force President Kennedy's hand. The proposed targets of the Northwoods Plan included American military installations such as Guantanamo Bay, as well as civilian targets such as American aircraft. The plan also considered targeting other Latin American countries to further weaken Cuba's credibility. President Kennedy was briefed on the Northwoods Plan, but rejected it as both illegal and immoral. He refused to sanction the use of false flag operations, recognizing that such actions would undermine the United States' moral high ground and damage its international reputation. Operation Northwoods never came to fruition, but it remains a significant episode in American history. It is a reminder of the lengths to which some within the US government were willing to go to justify war, and it highlights the importance of ethical decision-making in foreign policy. The plan also raised questions about the balance between national security and civil liberties. The proposed operations would have involved deceiving the American public and committing acts of violence against civilians. These actions would have undermined the principles of democracy and the rule of law. During the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan from 1979 to 1989, the Soviet Union conducted a series of psychological operations campaigns aimed at undermining the Afghan Mujahideen resistance and winning the support of the Afghan population. These campaigns, known collectively as Operation Iron Rain, were a complex and multifaceted effort that employed a variety of tactics, including propaganda broadcasts, disinformation, and psychological warfare. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in support of its communist client government. The invasion was ostensibly a response to a request for assistance from the Afghan government, but in reality, it was a strategic move to gain control of the country and secure its southern border with Pakistan. The Soviet invasion sparked a decade-long insurgency by Afghan Mujahideen groups who were supported by the United States, Pakistan, and other Western powers. Operation Iron Rain was a comprehensive PsyOps campaign that was implemented by the Soviet Main Intelligence Directorate and the KGB. The campaign employed a range of tactics and techniques, including the Soviets operating a network of radio and television stations that broadcast propaganda messages aimed at discrediting the Mujahideen and glorifying the Soviet occupation. These broadcasts often depicted the Mujahideen as religious fanatics and terrorists, and portrayed the Soviet Union as a liberator and protector of the Afghan people. The Soviets spread disinformation through a variety of channels, including leaflets, newspapers, and radio broadcasts. This disinformation was designed to sow confusion and distrust among the Afghan population and to undermine the credibility of the Mujahideen. The Soviets employed a variety of psychological warfare techniques such as intimidation, harassment, and blackmail. These techniques were used to pressure Afghan civilians into supporting the Soviet occupation and to discourage them from joining the Mujahideen. The Soviets also exploited traditional Afghan cultural values and beliefs in their PsyOps campaigns. They portrayed themselves as protectors of Islam and Afghan traditions, and they sought to depict the Mujahideen as a threat to these values. The effectiveness of Operation Iron Rain is difficult to assess. While the Soviets were able to achieve some successes, such as discrediting the Mujahideen in the eyes of some Afghans, they were ultimately unable to win the support of the Afghan population. The Mujahideen continued to resist the Soviet occupation, and the Soviet Union was eventually forced to withdraw from Afghanistan in 1989. Operation Iron Rain was a complex and multifaceted PsyOps campaign conducted by the Soviet Union during its invasion of Afghanistan. While the campaign achieved some successes, it ultimately failed to win the support of the Afghan population. The lessons learned from Operation Iron Rain continue to be relevant today as military and intelligence professionals around the world seek to develop more effective ways to use PsyOps to achieve their objectives. In the intricate tapestry of modern warfare, psychological operations, or PsyOps, have emerged as a formidable force, wielding the power to shape minds and influence human behavior without the need for overt violence. Unlike traditional military tactics, PsyOps employ sophisticated techniques to target the cognitive, emotional, and cultural susceptibilities of individuals and adversaries alike. The origins of PsyOps can be traced back to ancient warfare, when generals sought to demoralize enemy troops with rumors and threats. In the 19th century, the use of printed materials and posters evolved into propaganda, aimed at influencing public opinion during conflicts. However, it wasn't until the 20th century that PsyOps truly came into their own. World War II witnessed the widespread deployment of PsyOps by both Allied and Axis forces. The United States Office of War Information, for instance, produced propaganda films and disseminated leaflets that targeted not only enemy soldiers, but also civilians in both occupied and neutral territories. The aim was to sow discord, weaken morale, and promote a sense of defeatism. After the war, PsyOps continued to play a vital role in conflicts around the world. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a covert battle for influence, using propaganda, disinformation campaigns, and covert operations to undermine each other's credibility and legitimacy. Modern PsyOps employ a wide array of techniques to achieve their objectives. PsyOps disseminate information through various channels, including newspapers, radio, television, social media, and cell phones. The goal is to influence public opinion, shape perceptions, and create or dispel rumors and narratives. PsyOps aim to influence the thinking, decision-making, and behavior of individuals by targeting their cognitive processes. This can be done through techniques such as suggestion, deception, and reinforcement. PsyOps target the emotions of individuals to elicit desired responses. This can involve manipulating feelings of fear, anxiety, anger, hope, or loyalty to influence behavior. PsyOps are used in a variety of contexts, including to weaken enemy morale, disrupt command and control, and spread disinformation to manipulate combat outcomes. PsyOps can be used to communicate with local populations, promote reconciliation, and support peacekeeping efforts. They can help build support for counterterrorism measures, weaken terrorist networks, and deter recruitment and radicalization. They can be used to protect critical infrastructure, counter cyber attacks, and control the flow of information in virtual spaces. The use of PsyOps raises important ethical concerns. Unlike traditional warfare, where the target is a physical entity, PsyOps target the minds of individuals. This raises questions about the potential for abuse and the impact on human rights. The Geneva Convention, which governs the laws of war, prohibits the use of propaganda designed to deliberately incite a state of panic among the civilian population or promote a hostile attitude towards an adversarial party. However, the distinction between legitimate and illegitimate PsyOp activities can be difficult to draw. Modern PsyOps are a powerful and influential force in modern warfare. They represent a covert battleground for influence, where the target is not the physical body, but the psychological and cognitive vulnerabilities of individuals. By employing a range of techniques, from information operations to cognitive and emotional manipulations, PsyOps seek to shape minds, influence behavior, and achieve strategic objectives. And of course, one place that now has the greatest power is social media. In the labyrinthine world of social media, a silent yet potent evolution is taking place, the emergence of sophisticated psychological operations. Once the domain of military and intelligence agencies, PsyOps have swiftly transformed into a formidable weapon in the arsenal of corporations. Through the pervasive influence of social media platforms, modern PsyOps empower companies with unprecedented reach and the ability to subtly sway the perceptions, emotions, and behaviors of consumers. Modern corporate PsyOps encompass a wide range of psychological strategies and tactics deployed on social media to influence perception. By shaping how individuals view products, brands, and corporate messaging. eliciting desired emotions like happiness, fear, and trust, encouraging consumers to purchase products, share content, or engage with brands, influencing societal attitudes and norms related to brands or industries. Methods used include crafting and disseminating compelling stories designed to evoke specific emotions or perspectives, leveraging algorithms and data analysis to target specific user segments with tailored content that triggers predetermined emotional responses, partnering with key individuals who possess captive audiences and using their credibility to amplify corporate messages, tracking and analyzing user behavior, sentiment, and conversations to refine PsyOps campaigns and measure effectiveness, employing AI-driven algorithms to automate content personalization, track user engagement, and optimize campaigns. But what are the motivations for PsyOps in corporate strategy? Obviously, it is to increase sales and brand loyalty by subtly persuading consumers to purchase products and foster strong emotional connections with brands, shaping public perception and neutralizing negative sentiment, outmaneuvering competitors and dominating market share, positioning brands as experts and influencing industry conversations. Modern PsyOps on social media raise significant ethical and societal concerns, such as the covert nature of these techniques can undermine consumer trust and privacy, the polarization and misinformation by targeting specific segments of the population. PsyOps can exacerbate social divisions and spread misinformation. The erosion of critical thinking with repeated exposure to subliminal messages that can diminish individuals' ability to think critically and make informed decisions. The bias and discrimination through algorithmic filtering and targeted advertising, which can perpetuate biases and exclude marginalized communities. Modern PsyOps on social media is a powerful force that can subtly reshape consumer behavior, public opinion, and even societal structures. While these techniques offer substantial potential benefits for corporations, they also necessitate careful ethical scrutiny by promoting critical media literacy, advocating for transparency, and fostering self-regulation. Consumers and society can navigate this complex landscape and protect themselves from potential manipulation. As the digital landscape continues to evolve, it is essential to remain vigilant and engage in ongoing dialogue about the appropriate use of psychological strategies in the realm of social media. By balancing innovation with ethical considerations, we can harness the power of these technologies for positive social and economic outcomes. The world of psychological operations is a complex and treacherous realm where the boundaries between persuasion and manipulation are often blurred. While governments and corporations may argue that their use of PsyOps is for the greater good, the potential for harm is undeniable. The ethical implications are profound, challenging our fundamental notions of free will, individual autonomy, and the integrity of our democratic institutions. The way forward lies in transparency, accountability, and strong regulations. Only by shining a light on the shadowy world of PsyOps and establishing clear safeguards can we hope to mitigate their harmful effects and preserve our freedom of thought and our right to self-determination.